And when we look back at this moment in time, it's going to be, news footage, but it's also going to be the art that gets created in these moments of crisis that inform future generations of what our culture was. And artists keep culture and they present it to the world. They present our truths. They remind us of what makes us human by connecting us to who we are and what really matters.
We're here with Shu-Ling from the Sylvia Center for the Arts, and we're going to talk a little bit about what the arts are going through during this outbreak and the implications that has for our performing arts. Sue, thank you for being here with us today virtually and inviting me into your home. Talk to me a little bit, if you can, about what are the arts going through right now?
Well, it's been pretty wild. This has been a really unprecedented time. I don't think any of our artists right now have ever experienced this kind of pandemic or crisis. All of us right now feel a great deal of social responsibility. We recognize that we are in the industry of connecting human beings, but right now that kind of physical connection, that face-to-face time that we cherish so much, isn't necessarily what's best for our community. So we've been dealing with a lot of what my actors call big sad. We have some big sad feelings because we miss everyone. A lot of us, myself included, have been with the community every single night for months straight. I was just talking to my husband, I don't think that I've had an evening without my actors since November. And when the order to not gather in groups more than 10, and then now with the stay home order, we've just all been really disparate, and that's been a challenging thing, I think, for all of us personally. It's a bunch of extroverts all hanging out together constantly, and now all of a sudden we're like, oh, you have to be alone, which is wild, and I think we're all adjusting. Sylvia Center is one of many arts organizations in the community right now, and we're all feeling this disconnection from our patrons. A lot of us have been greatly impacted by the stay-home orders and those things that are necessary for keeping ourselves safe and keeping our community safe and flattening the curve. But we're in this giant industry of the arts and face-to-face contact. But when we can't do that, we also have to look at how we value the people and the individuals that are contributing to our art. And so those hard decisions have been happening all around the community. Now bigger theaters also hit, right. The symphonies hit, all of us and the performing arts are kind of feeling that right now.
So you had a number of productions that were canceled or that you had been working on, and now you just can't put those on. What are the performers and the artists doing during this time where, they were going to be performing for people and now they can't? And what are sort of the plans moving forward with that?
We had a cast of 24 actors and about 6 technicians. So there were 30 of us working on a 5.5-hour Viking play, doing the entire prose edda, poetic edda saga of the Volsung. And so we've gone from exercising and training with each other and getting to a place where we can run and jump on each other's shoulders and sing songs and perform and memorize lines, to suddenly that being not the case. Now a lot of our actors are following Chris Hemsworth, workout buddies, so that way we can stay in physical shape, or going running or picking up new hobbies. As one of the costumers on that squad, I'm taking the time to just make the costumes more epic and more interesting and really getting to do more detail work. We're looking at the songs, we're still listening to our music, and we're connected. We're sending memes to each other. There's lots of memes. There's that Odin meme floating around about how Odin sits on his chair with his pets with his 6-foot stick to keep people 6 feet away from him. And we're plotting things like, how can we Zoom video record all of our music? We're reminding each other that we love each other.
Yeah.
We're picking up each other's laundry if someone doesn't have access to a laundromat, and doing it for each other, dropping off food on each other's porches because there's maybe 6 of us that haven't been laid off.
Yeah. So obviously a hard time for everyone in the arts kind of grappling with this and trying to maintain that forward momentum, not knowing how long this will last or where things are going. But what have you seen in the arts community in general, people coming together to support each other? And are there people kind of taking a new direction or trying to find ways to continue doing art within this new world?
Absolutely. There have been, so now that we can't be face-to-face with people, there's plenty of artists putting out online content. Lewis Ledford's doing concerts on the regular, so is Havel Arand and many of our other local musicians. There's teachers uploading classes, and right now there's a group of 30 some odd individuals in the organizations that they're a part of all coming together to form something new called the Whatcom Arts Project. I have the pleasure of being someone who's contributing to that with Silvia Center. And what our goal is to find ways for people to stay connected, even if we have to be socially distant. You know, during the days of the week, trying to find educational content for our parents who are homeschooling their kids or our teens who are missing their jazz lessons. And then on the weekend, trying to look for entertainment for, you know, date nights at home, or just allowing families to come together and look at streaming things from our local artists rather than entirely are living in our Netflix or
and the
HBO
Hulu
or
and
Hulu.
Yeah. Plus, we've already gone through most of those shows anyways by this point. So,
oh yeah, I'm finding new ones every day. But I don't think I should spend as many hours watching The Tiger King when I could be hanging out and watching Lewis play some music.
Yeah.
I know for Sylvia right now, we're going back through our archives from our 18 years with Idiom Theater, listening to all of our old storytellers and watching videos of old productions, making plans to film new productions or staged readings that we can share with people so we can continue to celebrate the work of contemporary playwrights.
Yeah. More generally speaking, how have artists and performers been sort of at the front lines, if they have, you know, of epidemics in the past or things of this nature? Like how has the artistic community responded throughout history? Can you speak to that at all?
If we just look back at the Great Depression of the 1920s, FDR and the New Deal infused so much money back into the arts, and it allowed for, you know, Dorothy Lang to travel the country and document that devastation. It allowed for writers to be creating new novels. I mean, if you go far enough back, you can start looking at the German Expressionist movement and the Weimar Republic as a response to those times of great devastation and war in Europe. You can look at the Surrealists in Spain, the Surrealists in Spain and in France. Guernica, I mean, that was an amazing piece that was there right at the Spanish Civil War. And you can look at Dora Maar's art that was documenting kind of where she was at as a woman in France in the 1940s. And artists have kind of always been there documenting what's happening. Like even since Shakespeare wrote King Lear during a pandemic. He isolated himself out in the countryside, wrote Lear.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about that is it just goes to show you that culture doesn't stop when it feels like we're trapped inside or we're dealing with a major crisis in the world. There are artists out there constantly documenting what's the truth of humanity now, and that they're informing culture. And when we look back at this moment in time, it's going to be, you know, news footage, but it's also going to be the art that gets created in these moments of crisis that inform future generations of what our culture was. And artists keep culture and they present it to the world. They present our truths. They remind us of what makes us human by connecting us to who we are and what really matters. I think if there's one thing that is constant about, I mean, theater is where my heart is. So one thing that's really constant about theater is we've been told that theater's been dying forever. I mean, Netflix was going to kill live theater. Everything was going to, cinema was going to destroy live theater, and it never has.
Yeah, it'll be interesting too to see with all the quarantine happening and everything, what amazing works of art come out of this, with people just sort of being holed up and having nothing else to do but focus on their art and their projects. And hopefully we can get some good stuff coming out of this, right?
Yeah. I know right now we have one of our actors who was in the Volsung Saga with us. She has Hashimoto's, so she lives alone. She's immunocompromised. She can't leave her house.
Yeah.
She can't even go grocery shopping. And what she's been doing is creating the most amazing paintings and recording videos of her playing some of her favorite songs on her ukulele and going back to the arts to keep her connected to her community and the things that she loves and are most passionate about.
Yeah. So where as a community do we go forward from here? You know, when everything sort of finally blows over and we're able to get back outside into the community and spend time together, how do you think people are going to respond to coming out to a live theater show, for example, or going out to an event or a concert? What do you think is gonna happen next?
I feel like they're going to be wild and wonderful and enthusiastic and so thankful to finally get to hug another person that they haven't seen in a while. I think that we're going to be anchored in those aspects of our culture that allow us to have connections, whether it's going out to dinner with someone or having a cocktail and talking about life, or it's sitting in a theater sharing stories and reconnecting to the stories that have kind of infused us with our moral compass and our sense of wherewithal and love of each other, and remind us of the deep empathy that we can feel for each other, whether we're far apart or whether we're together.
Well said. Is there anything that people can do now to support local artists and performers who may be out of a job, they don't have a place to perform right now? What are some tangible ways you think that the community as a whole could rally to support people in this kind of creative field?
I mean, if people are willing and able to give, that's one thing that I would really strongly suggest right now. There's a lot of organizations asking for funds right now, and crisis funding for the arts is something that's a little iffy. And so if people are willing to give to arts organizations and donate to Sylvia Center, donate to the Mount Baker Theater, donate to Bay, or donate, that is an awesome thing to do. There's also opportunities to just pre-buy tickets. You can pre-buy tickets to various theaters and they will honor them, and they will be able to welcome you back as soon as they can open their doors. And trust me, all of the artists in this community right now are honing their skills and getting ready to have the biggest celebration of the arts as soon as we can invite people back into our homes and our nests at these facilities. Another thing is just be an amplifier for the arts. Like, all we need to do to keep arts relevant is to continue the conversation. With so many artists being willing to post their material, especially for free, take those opportunities to bring folk music to your kids, or share theater with them, or share a felting lesson with Natalia Robinson at Feral Felt, and find those opportunities to share content and remind other people. If you can't give, you can still like or share.
Yeah.
And that, I think, would help so many people, including Bellingham Tonight, just to continue staying in the forefront and on people's minds that there are alternatives to the streaming content that we get on a national and international level, that there are people locally who care about this community and who are a powerful voice for this community and will contribute to the identity of this community, but they can only do it if they continue to be supported by this community that has brought them so far already.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. And from everyone at Bellingham Tonight, we wish you the very best in kind of the next couple of weeks and months as we try to figure this thing out as a community. We'll definitely be thinking about the Sylvia Center, and I'd love to see how we could partner on future projects and help share the arts in a changing and challenging time.
Right. Thank you so much, Josh.
Please subscribe to the channel, like us, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. And we'll be back with more of these stories.